Hello.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm kind of feeling, although we're not talking about the moon, I'm kind of feeling the Taurus full moon big time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's tomorrow based. No, it's Tuesday, actually. The Taurus full moon. Yeah, Tuesday morning-ish. Yeah, I just realized today that this is what's going on.
Well, we've got the eclipse on Tuesday, haven't we?
Precisely, yeah. And hello, Amanda. It's so good to see you because we missed you last time.
Yes.
No, I know. I watched it. I did see it. Hi, Steve.
Hello. Yeah, well, at least we have replays. I'm gonna now take the previous one off and then put this one on. So whoever, I think Helen also said on WhatsApp that she can't make it today. So I'm still gonna put the replay on there, but I'll put it here as well. Maybe it's a little bit better light-wise. So let's see who else is coming on. But yes, it's eclipse. We're in eclipse season, so it's quite crazy, intense time in a sense. Like we're in Scorpio, right? We are in eclipse season. We are. Well, there's just a lot of stuff happening, and it's quite funny because I've completely stepped out from tracking the moon myself, but every once in a while, like I'm gonna try to really feel how it feels like without actually looking at it, like without actually looking from the internet, like, okay, where it is now. I'm just really trying to feel like, okay, what's it feel like? And today I was like, this feels big time Taurus to me. And it's always like, with a full moon, what we've talked about during the moon mornings is like the full moon is the time when we're working on an axis, right? So the sun is in Scorpio, the moon is in Taurus, and the full moon actually means like we're just being pulled like this from, and it's really working with that axis of Scorpio, truth, revelation, and Taurus, survival, everything which is like super kind of physical, super like, how would I say? Hey, Jackie.
Hey.
Hey. We just started, so you haven't missed anything.
Okay, cool.
I'm just rambling. Like super body-based. This is what Taurus is, but it's everything has so many layers. So when I say body-based and survival, it's just you think much more, as we know. Somebody's music on.
Oh, it's me. Oh, so you can hear everything in the background, can you?
I heard piano. It was really lovely.
Is my son doing guitar? Oh dear. Okay, maybe I need to go into another room. Sorry.
Or you can just mute as well, and then it's.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
I haven't done it for ages. Let me see how to do this. Mute.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. All good. So I think I haven't actually heard from Vicky. But I guess we'll just start because we're 6 minutes past. And then we'll have a replay for everyone else. And I would love, because I really miss you ladies. I mean, now we don't see each other every day because of this new format. So I really want to know, how does everything, what resonates, is there any kind of key points, what have been interesting, or I don't know, like seeds in any way. But first, let's just, I really invite you, whoever can. I know you have different situations going on there, but whoever can, let's just close our eyes and come back to our own body. I definitely feel I need to come back to my own energy field. And just taking those deeper breaths, and we're kind of working on the Scorpio Taurus axis right now, which is very much actually focusing on the lower part of our body, because Taurus is the large intestine. Taurus is like really the root. So let's just try to bring the breath into that place of rootedness and into the belly, into the lower parts of our being, into the legs, into the feet. Because with Taurus, we're focusing really on the feminine earth energy as well. And with Scorpio, we're focusing on power. And this is the solar plexus energy. So again, we're kind of in this, very much on this belly area, you know, digesting much of the stuff that is now emerging, perhaps something to do with our survival, or our, you know, survival can mean so many different things. And the sense of survival or fear for survival can come from lifetimes ago and through so many different generations and through so many different layers. But here we really just want to relax into the belly and allow that calmness and rootedness to come, and allow the spine to be straight, so you actually feel like you're, how P used to say it, sitting on Shiva's cock. It just came to me, but really like, you know, really coming back to your own vertical form, so you feel that you are aligned. And just taking a deep breath in and exhale. And a deep breath in. And another exhale. And the third and final breath. And exhale. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back. So we're in eclipse season, right? So what it means is like a lot of unexpected changes can happen, and very quick changes and kind of quick revelations, what really change the way you exist, the way you live, you know, any relationships, any interactions with anything, really, very rapidly. So this is what the eclipse season is often about, like really this time of rapid changes, and the way we resonate or we respond to that is how much we are able to be fluid, you know, how much we're really able to kind of open up to life and discern what is the kind of what is the part, what is in alignment, where do we actually want to go, and what are the parts that are coming out to really be noticed and understood that no, this is actually something from the past. This is not what we really want to keep in our lives any longer. So it's this time of really quick accelerated ability to actually change our lives in a very quite radical way sometimes. But again, like, it's so down to the individual soul journey and the individual state, as those changes can be quite subtle. They can be internal, they can be external. So, you know, we can all observe this eclipse season in our own lives and see what exactly is it bringing up. But the main thing with that season is to really stay kind of stay also agile in seeing things, you know, really understanding that we are able to actually really listen things clearer sometimes during that time. So it's kind of a raw state in many ways, I would say. But what I wanted to say with the Taurus and the full moon, so I really didn't expect it to come up as kind of the moon related thing, but it did. And actually, you know, the thing is, everything about the moon, what we have been talking about, it still exists as of we still move through all those different energies with the moon. The moon is still waxing and waning, but I guess what I'm really trying to, where I'm trying to evolve to, and what I'm trying to kind of evolve the work into, is the understanding that we can access all those energies at all times, and we don't need to be pushed and pulled that much, you know, that we can actually stand much stronger on our own sacred ground without being so impacted and affected by whatever is going on around us. So this is Vicky is coming. So this is really about what the sacred ground is about, and that doesn't eliminate or diminish the fact that hello Vicky. It doesn't diminish the fact that the moon is still there and we still get those energies, right? So the Taurus full moon lunar eclipse still happening. And it's quite interesting to what I've been observing just actually today, because we're sort of moving into that halo. It's like, you know, not even 48 hours anymore to go into that peak full moon. But what I've been observing is that a lot of not even worries, I wouldn't call it worry, but stuff has been coming up about like physical things and how they affect either like the survival literally, or the money flow, or, you know, different things which feel very very much like we need to grip onto it, you know, we need to grip onto it in order to survive, or we need to move on quickly in order to survive or make things work. And it's much less spiritual. It's much more like this practical, tangible things. Like we need to make the business work, or we need to, you know, feed ourselves. And a lot of this kind of stuff seems to be coming up quite a bit. And I guess, okay, I'll bring you a really funny thing, what was like super triggered me literally like an hour ago. And for some people, this might sound super crazy, but I've been, you know, as you know, I'm like super particular about the food, and also the food I'm buying into the home. And I've mentioned it once, but yes, I have a new boyfriend who is incredible. It's the first time in very, very many years when I have an Estonian boyfriend, and he's super cool, but he has like two grown-up kids, and one of them lives with him, a 17-year-old. He lives with him 2 weeks out of the month, so 2 weeks with father, 2 weeks with mother. And I've lived on my own I was always living with Nick, but we had very, you know, we had separate flats. I mean, I had my office, I had my food there often, or we kind of had separate food a lot. So I'm very used to kind of buy my food and I know it will stay there. And obviously I'm still buying all the special foods and so on. And then everything I've bought, I was thinking like, am I going crazy, or what the fuck? I'm sorry, what the fuck is happening? But everything is opened in the fridge, not eaten, but just opened. So I just drove back here like a couple of hours ago, and I grabbed something from the fridge thinking it was closed. And actually it was just cut open, and it was full of like tomato kind of oil, and everything went into the bag because I thought it was closed, because, you know, like who the hell opens this kind of stuff? You know, it's like organic bio, I don't know, smoked tomato tofu, you know, it's like very special food, right? And honestly, I was like, what the hell? Like somebody is kind of like playing with me, you know, somebody's playing with my food, which for me is like the biggest thing ever. And so I was kind of just trying to really process that, which for many people, it would just be like absolutely freaking nothing. And then for me, I was like, whoa, this was like a big thing right now. So, you know, I've had like the food stuff since I was a kid, because food was my way. I had like a really like food OCD, because food was my way to survive. Not eating, no like not in the sense of eating disorders, but like very like eating only very specific stuff or being very particular about that. So it was like everything just came to my face. It was like the light was literally coming and shining on this particular thing of like food survival, somebody eating, opening my food, somebody like, you know, like tampering my food, which, you know, it just completely, all my systems are like high alert. So I was like, okay, that's pretty crazy. That's like very, very Taurus for me. And then other stuff came up as well about, you know, like work, the physical things at work, which was like just in my face, exploded like 2 hours ago. So that's why I'm saying like, yeah, I really do feel the Taurus moon, even if I'm not really looking at it or kind of trying to align myself to it, it is still there, right? But now the question is, how can we use all those other tools to actually tap into the energies, what we need to tap into in order to sort of balance that out, you know, in order to actually heal that whatever is coming up. So this is something for me to kind of process after. As well, like what can I bring in now, because we can tap into everything at the same time, and this is the point. We can really tap into all of those energies. We don't have to wait when the Pisces comes around or, you know, Leo comes around. Yeah, but I'm gonna finish my ramble about the food. It was just like I literally feel it in my solar plexus right now. And open the circle, because this is really like, I would love to hear how you are feeling, how this week has been. Feels like so long for me since I last saw you, because it feels like so much is happening all the time. So I'm gonna, where do I start? I'm gonna maybe make a circle again. So Pippa almost seems to be on my left hand, please. Pippa, I know you love sharing, so
I'll start with a really important question. So, is it your boyfriend's son opening your food?
yes.
So he's just opening it and then leaving it in the fridge?
Yeah,
Why?
I know, exactly. That is the thing what I'm asking. I didn't really know even how to, because I came home and I was so furious when I noticed that I was like, okay, if I'm gonna like react to it right now, it's gonna come up really, really strange. Like, who the fuck is opening my tofu? You know?
Really bizarre. Really bizarre. What a
I
funny
know.
thing.
Apparently the you know how they raised their kids was like everything in the fridge was like, you know, up for grabs, as of like you can have anything, you don't need to ask, you can just have anything in the kitchen. And I'm not used to it because, you know, I kind of used to have my own kitchen, nobody's coming and opening my food, so I'm really not used to like anyone tampering it, or I'm not checking when I take it, because I think like if I haven't opened it, it's obviously closed, right? And this obviously is not the case anymore.
No, I get that. I don't get why you'd open a packet of tofu and then not take any. Surely you knew it was tofu. Like, it's really odd just to open it and not take, like, just leave it.
I know. And then I had this lemon sheep yogurt, which the same thing, right? I took it, I just bought it, I took it, I was like, wait, it has been opened. And then I opened it, it was completely full. And then buckwheat milk, again, who the fuck, apart from me, drinks buckwheat milk? And
No one.
like, I left it outside the fridge because I was like, well, I don't put it to the fridge when it's not open because it can stay outside and it's fine, the fridge is full. And then today I wanted to use it, it was open, I just left outside the fridge again.
Yeah, I think this is equal amounts triggering and confusing.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, my shares. Funnily enough, I listened to your recording for today just before this one, in like the last 15 minutes before this one, and I felt it was really interesting, because I think a big dynamic shift for me that's going on at the moment is very much based on fear, and starting to not find fear prohibitive. So finding fear as something that all of a sudden it feels like there's been a shift change, and I can see fear and do something anyway. So I have kind of goals, and I'm not tempering my goals based on fear. So I'm not necessarily living a life driven by fear, which I have done all my life, I think, which feels massive. And I feel like I'm, you know, a new person and in lots of ways, and I'm starting to tiptoe into this. But one thing that I've noticed, I'm doing more. So like I'm going out more, I'm working really hard, I'm doing more stuff with the kids. Just like life is a lot fuller because of this change. And I noticed that in the last few nights I've been out with friends, and I noticed today, I was like, oh, you're gossiping. Like, what am I doing? I've noticed that it's almost like the Gemini in me has suddenly been released. And rather than fear holding me back from being my Gemini side and wanting to like chat to people and be out there and doing stuff, fears held me back. And it's now like, oh my God, I can do all these things. I can talk to people, I can go out, I can have fun. I can, you know, it's okay. Like fear isn't dominating, but then it's like, what am I doing? Like, I don't like, it's almost the defensive-ness, like you were talking about in the thing earlier. It's almost trying to, I don't know. It's not a positive energy that I'm putting out there as part of that. It's like almost like the negative side of Gemini I'm throwing out there preemptively. And I just clocked it this evening and I was like, oh, it's weird. Like, it's not me, I don't know. It's almost putting my side of the story across first, what it is, but yeah. So it's like a big thing and a little thing, the little thing being the gossip, but just all of a sudden noticing it and just realizing I need to choose something different because this is, like, what am I doing? It's really weird and uncomfortable. That's where I am. No, not serious gossip, like nothing bad, but you know, so-and-so from the deli is going out with that guy and, you know, this sort of stuff, like silly stuff, like nothing bad. That's me.
Well, thank you, Pippa. And you know what? It's actually like all those what we think, oh, it's so not important. But if we observe them and we're like, wait, that is really weird, like that is kind of triggering, or this is something what is like unlike us, or, you know, this is actually the treasure trove, right? Like this is, our mind is trying to say like, oh, but it's nothing. But actually it's, you know, when you notice it, it is something. You know, when you notice it, then it is actually important because it's really trying to lead you somewhere. Like nothing is just emerging completely randomly, because otherwise it wouldn't emerge. You know, you would just it would just be like another thing in your life and you wouldn't really think about it. You know, like I was like putting this candle, like lighting this candle. I'm not thinking about this candle like, oh my God, like did I actually lit it properly? If I would have a problem or if I would have some issue with like fire around, I would still probably be thinking about it, but it's just like another thing. So whenever something actually comes up, this is like where we should go deeper and deeper and to actually see like, okay, what is there? And what is interesting is like, it's always like that. We change one part of the puzzle and actually another layer emerges. And then we have this ability or like this capacity or this opportunity rather to step back and actually see like, okay, so who is that new me? You know, who is that person now? And how can I, again, align, you know, how does it feel like to have those new experiences? And Gemini in any way is trying out many shoes, you know, being Gemini is actually trying out all those different stories, all these different like ways of being and so on. So, you know, maybe also, again, it really depends how you feel, but maybe it's also like part of you is just wanting to talk about that girl in the deli who goes out with that guy, and that is okay. You know, this is again, like not creeping into like, this is good and this is bad, unless it's really damaging someone or it's really damaging yourself. So I think it's also like really going deeper with understanding like, what is it actually? Like, could I do it? Like, is it actually fun? Or should I really, you know, consciously notice myself and kind of grab myself and take myself off this wheel? Yeah, I don't know if that made sense.
It did. It made loads of sense. It's probably how I say what I say and what I say, probably a bit of both to think about.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also it's like, interesting to see kind of why it triggers you when you're gossiping, Because also it could just be like, a random thing, but it obviously brings up something, so.
Yeah. Thank you. Really interesting.
Thank you so much, Pippa, darling. Amanda, would you like to?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so my question is about the food opening. So my question is, did it happen at your house or was it at your boyfriend's house?
It was at his house.
Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. I think he was just probably really curious about, what's all this stuff? And you know what teenagers are like? Teenagers are like, they don't care.
I know, but because I've never had any experience with teenagers, like zero, So
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
He sounds like he just sounds, it's funny though. And it's just so funny that those triggers have come up for you all in one go. And it's like, wow, there's something in there for you.
Oh my
about
God.
releasing them, maybe letting them go. But yeah, interesting. And then what Pippa said, yeah, it made me think of, when you release lots of old emotions and then you kind of get this, I think they call it, it's like a backdraft. You get, everything gets sucked out and then you get a flood of new things coming in. And that's where things have to rebalance. And it just takes time and patience and be compassionate with yourself. That's what I was going to say. And
thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, and it also made me think, because I've had a similar experience, but in different ways, just through this eclipse season. And I was thinking of all sorts of things. It's been quite a profound eclipse season and very releasing as well. And then I finally came through to a lot of clarity on Friday when I had my session with my therapist, and I was like, and it was a really, really profound connections that have been woven throughout my whole existence since I was a child, and then they all sort of started to come together into an understanding, a deep understanding in the session, and that was all triggered by the eclipse stuff as well. So it was like, wow, and it was incredible. But what happened, which is similar to what Pippa experienced, is old things, lots of new things had been coming in this year in particular. Well, the last couple of years, I've been doing a lot of work on myself, and lots of new ways of being, lots of new ways of seeing myself. A lot of new stuff came in, and I released a lot of old stuff. And then that eclipse kind of threw me into a kind of regress state. It was like, God, why have I've gone? I feel like I've gone backwards. I feel like, where's Amanda gone? Now I'm back to some, a slightly older version of myself. I'm like, I don't, quite get it. And then I think what's been coming up for me is this critical voice. So it's like, it's some part of me it's got a very critical voice, and it's quite hard on myself. And now I'm noticing it, and I'm like, okay, so I can start observing it, get curious about it. Who, where's it coming from? Who, all that kind of stuff. So I'm in that process now, which is, it's going to be interesting because I know it's going to bring me a lot of release and deep growth again, to bring me to the space where I want to get to and where I am getting to. And I think also, with this is slightly change the subject, but with the moon and the cycles and all of, the things that the astrology and all that, I think I think for me, I always had astrology, aspects of astrology. I've always been interested in that throughout my life. When I started doing the moon mornings, it brought a much deeper clarity on how it actually all connects and how I can actually now I can tap into the energies, and it's like wow. I just find it fascinating. I'm like, wow, you know, today I was feeling the call of the earth. You know, I didn't realize that. I don't know if we're still in Aries.
We're still in Aries right now, yeah. But obviously the
Uh,
Taurus is already in the
Yeah.
horizon.
Yeah, and I feel the call of the earth strongly, which I haven't felt for a long time. And I was like, okay, I need to go to my space. I need to spend some time in my, you know, the space that I like to go to. And I was like, okay, so Taurus is definitely calling. And I love that because it makes it all feel magical and connected and just, yeah, just really beautiful. And I think what that aspect of, you know, the observations, what it does for me is make me, now I'm able to use the things that come up whether it's coming up because universal energies are making these things come up, you know, like the eclipses, it made some really deep stuff come up, and I worked through it. I know that I'm not going crazy because I know what's going on in the universe, and it's like, okay, I know that I'm gonna get through this process, you know, instead of it just feeling like a random act of something that's not actually for my ultimate good, you know. So I do love this the moon side of things, but I also really love, I've always been quite holistic in how I approach things, and I do my healing work quite actively because I realize that's my purpose in my lifetime, is doing this kind of healing work, and I can see how it benefits me. So yeah, it was interesting. And I think just going back to the previous, last week, you were talking about the eighth, what's it called? The eighth?
The eighth sphere.
The eighth sphere, yeah.
Atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry for the eighth. Yeah, the eighth sphere. I think at that time I actually found it really, really triggering because normally I wouldn't find it so triggering. I say normally in, you know, my recent, the last couple of years, I wouldn't have found that so triggering because it's, I've worked through that kind of, I've worked through experiences now, so it doesn't trigger me. But during that eclipse time, because it brought up so many like old fears and the death, you know, all sorts of stuff came up, really, you know, quite profound stuff for me. And yeah, I know that stuff. It's like Marion had said, it's like, yeah, I think I just know it, but I know that stuff, and I've been deep in those kind of holes in the past, and it's like, no, it was just so triggering at that time. And it kind of felt like a bit left field, but that was just, you know, showing me what was going on for me at that time as well. So that was quite interesting. Yeah, I'm sure there's other stuff, but I can't remember it all right now. But yeah, it's interesting. I think the one thing I've told you guys about this before, I do this thing called Hakomi, and the Hakomi helps me to explore those different parts of myself that come up. And when I do that, I just get such huge releases and transitions and creates new space within me, so I can, you end up going to another layer that's coming up. it's like you know, but it does, it all works really beautifully together. It's beautiful synergy. Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, Amanda. And so nice to see you and hear from you, and hear your observations. And it's true, Scorpio season is very much where things come left field. Eclipse season, things come left field. And also because Scorpio is going into the sort of underworld, the undercurrents, and it's almost like those undercurrents, when we have cleaned the surface, we think like everything is nice, clear, and the lake is, beautiful and pure and so on. But when we actually go and travel to the undercurrents, we can still see those reflections of what has been. And this is exactly why Scorpio often brings up so much stuff. And we think like, oh my God, like I'm literally back in where I used to be. Because we can see those reflections, what are still there, although it's almost like the surface has been cleared already, but it actually never means that we haven't done the work or that we're back in square one, because we can never be, because the life is going through the spiral and we can never go back to the same thing, like never ever. We're not going to be the same people, we're not going to go back into the same situations. So we have changed, and we can see the reflections for a reason, to really like allow that new layer to be seen and be shown to us, because we're ready to tackle that new layer of things, because we are different.
Yeah, definitely. I'll say one more thing quickly, which is also boundaries have been quite prominent in this last few weeks as well. Boundaries, where are my boundaries? Where, how do other people affect me? And self-worth, that deep sense of self-worth. I think one of the sessions you did this week was about prioritizing yourself. And I remember that one resonated a lot, because it was like, yep, that's exactly what I had been thinking about that, I think that same day. And it was like, it keeps coming back about prioritizing yourself, and not in a self-centered way, but putting yourself first. And knowing your worth. Having that authority over yourself. It's so important. So that's coming up as well. And I say one last thing: stop apologizing if you swear. I don't know when we got back to this saying sorry, but it needs to stop. Stop it. We swear. Fuck it. Come on, guys.
Very good point, Amanda. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that was a rule what we used to have, like no apologizing ever. Sorries are not allowed in this space. That's so true. Thank you for reminding. And yeah, it's truly about, and I kind of wanted to really bring up this angle that prioritizing yourself also means that we allow other people to be themselves, because often like this is what perhaps we used to lack, that step when we were like, okay, yeah, I understand my worth, and then we feel like we need to kind of get other people in the line as well. But actually this is the whole kind of new layer of maturity, understanding and prioritizing yourself, and then allowing other people to be on their journeys, allowing them to have their own priorities, allowing them to have their own values and beliefs.
Yeah. Oh my God. You just brought up another thing I have to tell you. Because I've been reading this, I was listening to this book, you might have heard of it. It's called Unfuck Your Boundaries. And I was listening to it yesterday at the gym, and naturally within myself, I'm thinking more about other people and my effect on other people. How do I affect other people? Because I know I can be overbearing. I can, I've got this, different things. And yesterday I went to a concert. I went to see Erykah Badu. And after the concert, one of an old friend's daughter said, Amanda? And I was like, I haven't seen her for many, many years. She's 31 years old now. And she was there with her partner, her boyfriend, 4 years. And for some reason, it made me cringe today. It really made me cringe. I asked them, I said, oh, are you guys married, And they said, oh, no, they talk about it sometimes, but they're not sure, they're not sure. And I just went into, I won't say a tirade, but I went into like auntie mode. So I was talking about, marriage, and it's just, it gives you such a beautiful, deeper connection. And I just today when I was thinking about it, I was like, fuck, who are you? Why did you go into that fucking about? And then I started going into critical voice, and I was like, oh my God, I felt really cringy and I was like, okay, that's critical voice now. No, I'm not doing that to myself. And then I got out of it, and I was like, oh my God. And then you said what you said today, and I was like, oh yeah, just screw it in more. So yeah, you just opened that kind of old world. Yeah.
I keep kind of picking the triggers.
Oh, I felt so cringy. But I was thinking about it, I was like, oh my God, really, seriously. Anyway, yeah, that was it.
Oh, thank you, Amanda. I mean, you know what I love about like this group, that we have all been here, so we can really laugh about ourselves and kind of like be like, yeah, I did that, which is really fucking awesome, like this is how we heal. Like this is actually how we get through those triggers when we're like, yep, totally, I admit, did that, let's move on. And we all have those things all the time. I still keep preaching everyone about lots of stuff.
Stop it, no more preaching. Not gonna do it anymore.
Like for example, talking about food again, because my boyfriend puts 2-week-old boiled potatoes into the microwave with some cheap sausages and eats them. And I'm like, it took me a very, very, like a long time to kind of be quiet about it and be like, okay, darling, well, I'm just gonna cook for you, but any day when I'm not there, totally take your moldy potatoes out of the fridge, stick them into the microwave for 2 minutes, and bon appetit. Not everyone is drinking buckwheat milk all the time. Marian, darling, I loved your what about special food tasting with a teenager? That is not a bad idea, by the way. Really fucking great. Like let me get all my crazy foods, and we can actually do a food tasting, and then he knows what they are, and then hopefully they remain closed, as hopefully he doesn't like them. Would you like to share what's happening?
As well open when I buy food, and I buy for some special food I'm very happy about. Before I when I take it out from the bag and before I put it in the fridge, I open everything. I mean, by myself, but I'm like, one sip, so because I'm very happy about this like a preciousness or like Kostbarkeit, and then so.
I love this, and then you don't have a problem that somebody else has opened my food.
Yeah, of course. And of course, my daughter moved out 1 year ago, but that was something that I was really looking forward, that everything is still at the same place, like as well wie sagt man, the Akku charger for the phone is still at the same place. Not always, because because of myself, but as well the food. I know if I leave something in the morning, I can eat it in the afternoon or in the evening. And yeah. What Amanda just said about the like the regret, what you said, yeah, in the time when I was in the time beside me, in that phase where I was meditating every day, there was the evening meditation was from Dr. Joe Dispenza, and the evening meditation was about going through your day, and then and it was very good to feel and see that moments, like how did I behave and who I want to become. And so sometimes I was like, it was not always such a pleasure. Like in the morning, you go like, how I want to be this day, and it's like, oh yes, like this, very cool. And then in the evening, it's like, not so funny anymore. But very good. There was one time I could then tell a person, hey, when we met last time, I didn't liked how I responded or like this. And then she was, no, it was okay, but thank you. It didn't bother me, but thank you so much that you realized. And I think that's very nice to the morning and the evening put in this start and end sessions, and it's really very helpful. Yeah. And as well with meditation, because I was drinking coffee and smoking tobacco and not meditating, so there is more gossiping without meditation for me, that the mind goes somewhere like, that's crazy, or I don't like that, and and it's easier to be with around people, because I had many times when I really every day meditated twice. I was I could not understand how people could. It's crazy. I read in the newspaper, I mean, and then their opinions. And I was like, and as well, they were like, let's have a cigarette first. And I was like, go smoke. I prepare the stuff here, do whatever you need. And then I was like, how can you, not how can you, but how much are you wasting your precious lifetime? Guide your mind, and what does it matter what happens here if you nourish your vibe and then ripple effect it in the world, into the world, and be it. No, about outside stuff. And then realized, as I said, how much it changes if I'm not meditating. Because it's, I don't know, the dopamine maybe, or it's very sociable, and you're not so sociable anymore if you meditate a lot, and if you're just here and they're like, let's get to the essentials. People are like, oh yes, being in the moment, and then so very interesting to how can I live with people if I'm how I live and ja, so. And I made notes. The fighting you said, genau, it was today, gell? The fight about
Yes.
not the fighting, but was very good because I was with my family yesterday and before yesterday for dinner, and I felt like I should wie sagt man, take my place, or my godfather and my father were blah, 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 blah. And I was like, hello uncle, like feeling like small, and he didn't get what person I am now. I maybe not, but like a hello thing. And then there is this sister and this sister, and as you once said, if you feel enlightened, spend some time with your family. And as I heard you say today about the fighting, it immediately took me back on my place. It was really like, big relief. Thank you. Oh yes, of course. There's no need, and very nice to share what we have to share because we are family, and that's it. So good. And and in a talk with my sister, it popped up that she said, like, you always think you have to be so strong on your own, but it's very nice. We are family, and it's very nice for us to help you. If you said there was something with the dog or you were sick, and it's very nice to help you. Please ask. It's like, I rather would cut my hand. And then there popped up some stories, like the story when I was in kindergarten, blah, blah. Then when I was like 14, blah, 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 blah. Then when I raised my daughter by my own. And I really question if it's like a childhood trauma thing, which I wie sagt man, bestätigen, confirm all the time as happens, or if it's really in my DNA, like birth story thing, karma shit, I don't know. So, and and it came in a different light, like it was on Friday evening. So, and intense time, but as well feeling really at home. I think it feels like maybe as a sun in Scorpio, that's like feeling like in the eye of the hurricane, and feeling like a lot is going on and crazy people are going more crazy, but it feels like in the eye of the hurricane. It's like, that's my home vibe. So, but still stuff is blobbing up like the lava. So, yeah. So what do you say to my I'm so strong? Yep.
Well, it is home for you, because when your son is in Scorpio. By the way, when is your birthday then?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh.
Yeah.
We're having like your pre-birthday hangout here. That's so much fun. Okay, that's really good to know. Yeah, right. It's interesting to again, what I really realized is that there's no right or wrong, because we all have our really different blueprints in many ways. And what is too strong, what is too intense, what is too whatever, to one is not that to another. And, actually there is no like, this is the way it must be, because there is on some way, because there is a natural law, and the natural law governs everyone in the same way. And there is, that particular truth, that is the truth. So all that sort of new age stuff that, oh, there are so many truths and so on, like that is bullshit as well. Yet we all have our individual journeys. We all have our individual blueprints, and we all have like, it's our very individual manifestation of that truth. But what I've really realized in my life, also living in a very, I'm not gonna let anyone to help me. I've lived exactly that sort of life for most of my life, because it literally what you said, like I rather cut my hand off. Yeah, that's what I felt like. I rather like, how would I, this is very much about survival. How would I just surrender? Like, yeah, okay, help me. I'm just gonna this literally seems like I'm gonna, I don't know, like what I would like. I'll just take a knife and start cutting myself, and this is like what, like I would just like walk into death myself or what, So it's totally, I know it's totally crazy, but it is very much to do with, that usually it starts from childhood, or it is some sort of generational thing, or it is some sort of like lifetime through lifetimes thing, that something has happened, what made you to like come into that state where you're like, I need to be totally self-sufficient. I need to be independent. I can't actually count on anyone, because if I'm going to lose it, if I'm going to like break apart, my life will break apart. And it has been taking me a very long time. And actually this is a very interesting experience now with that boyfriend, when I'm so conscious about literally completely dropping whenever he's around, when I'm completely like, oh, baby, and I'm consciously going into that like very, very feminine state and experiencing how it is. Because in my work, I freaking need to make decisions every single moment. It's really intense. It's really challenging. And I need to be in my masculine a lot. And all my life I felt like I have to be in my masculine. I can't afford, dropping any piece of that puzzle. And I can't give any piece of that puzzle to anyone else. And, now, again, this is that movement where this is really what I'm talking about, kind of the personal perspective from here. But it's like, I really realized that actually being in the masculine all the time, it's very depleting, because naturally I'm a very feminine person. So it's just my habitual state and my kind of survival strategy to be in the masculine. And actually, I really yearn being in the feminine, being in like, I can actually allow myself to like completely go fluid, completely go soft, be like all like blah, 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 like a jellyfish, and allow somebody else to just pick up the pieces, like create that structure in a very loving way. And I always thought that it was not possible, because my experience was like bringing those people, especially those men into my life who couldn't do that, who called me to be the masculine in the relationship. So I was like the masculine again everywhere. And it has been extremely interesting right now to actually really walk into being like, oh, honey bunny, you're so cute. Thank you for putting that book away, because I can't go there, right? Like it's really beautiful actually, and it's really nourishing to the feminine to allow yourself to do that. But it's very important to choose the people who you feel really safe with, because there's no point to allow yourself to go jellyfish with those people who actually cannot hold you. So it's almost like we have to do it gradually. We have to test the waters to see, you know, like, oh, is this person going to hold me? Because otherwise what happens is you're re-traumatizing yourself again. Yeah. So that's kind of my experience about that.
So good to hear.
I hope it helped. But it's actually beautiful to be able to start going into, like, gradually going into that space, because it's like, oh, it's super juicy and yummy.
And it starts as well with we said it once again as well with feminine like doing your hair, or like how I cook for myself. I was on a walk with a friend today, and it was like, you often cook very delicious food for yourself. And she was like, yes, I really do. And I was like, and I mean, I love cooking, I love good food, but often I'm in that masculine air creating mode. And I liked it a lot. It has a lot of feminine power as well, because it's creating and birthing, but it's begleitet. It goes with like not eating and forgetting the time and stuff like this, instead of now I prepared it very nice food, like that, yeah, juicy, nourishing thing.
Yeah. The grading stuff is very different in a masculine and feminine. So masculine grading is like you grade something for a purpose, you know, you want to grade something because you want something to come out of it. Whereas feminine grading is just creating without, you know, just creating, being in that process, really, without no particular desire to have any outcome. So that's why, for example, making meals, I mean, you know, yes, you have like a certain outcome, but it's like you make it, it's very much about the process. So it can be masculine making food as well, when you're a head chef somewhere and you're like needing to churn out meals on a factory line. Yeah. Amanda, sorry, go on.
I just want to jump in before I forget, but when you were talking, what Marion was talking about in terms of, and what you were saying in terms of being all jelly and wanting to be all the feminine and all that, it resonated, because after I had my surgery in June, I couldn't drive for like 6 weeks, and then I just didn't want to drive. I just didn't want to drive. I didn't drive for like almost three months. My husband did all the driving. He came to pick me up, he dropped me off, he did all the driving. And it was just, I was just relishing in that feeling of someone else taking the reins, someone else doing, not me having to hold and do everything. And that's been kind of expanded. It's expanded into different parts of our relationship, actually. And it's nice to be able to let go and trust someone else to be able to do certain things for you. It's quite, I think it's important, because I'm very much I just do everything. I do it all. But now I'm finding I don't want to do it all. And it's a good thing to not do it all, you know? Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Oh no, Jackie, I'm so sorry we couldn't hear. Well, thank you so much for being here. I hope you can share on the WhatsApp, how it has been going. Big kiss to you. See you very soon. Okay. So then we have Vicky, darling, left.
Yeah. Oh, it's so nice to hear everyone's shares, and nice to see you too, Amanda. I haven't seen you for a while. Oh, so many things, but I think one of the biggest thing, like the thing that keeps my mind keeps returning to while everyone's been talking has been about this. It's something I think that Helen shared in the group. You know, when you notice yourself wanting to sort of criticize someone or something, that actually it's quite often something that you need to sort of turn the spotlight back on yourself, because there's been this really interesting dynamic within my little family here, where I've just really noticed I'm quite sensitive to criticism anyway, and I've been really noticing when my husband has been criticizing my daughter, so then I go and criticize him about that, like this like pile on of like criticism, and I've just suddenly become very aware of it and wanting to and I don't yet know the kind of untangle out of it, but it's sort of catching myself when I want to kind of go, I can't believe you just said that, or whatever it is. And I had a massive rant about the patriarchy my husband earlier this week, like properly, like I was so cross. Like we were walking along the beach. Were we on the beach? Yeah, we were. We'd gone for this lovely walk, and I spent the whole time just going, I can't believe, like I just could see that there was this like patriarchal system at play in my house. And I was like, if I can't live in a house that's more balanced, like what hope is there for the world? Like I kind of took it to the like it became like fixing this dynamic in my family became really important to me, because I was like, but because that's what the world needs. And I'm still in it. I think I'm really curious that this is all coming up around this full moon, and I looked back at my notes from like, we must have done a moon mornings around the same time, and I've been looking at the what was going on for me around this time, you know, not in the date, but in the, you know, when we were in Aries, and when we were and I was just really irritable then, and I was like, I feel like I'm fighting a cold. I'm like, I feel like I'm fighting a cold, like it's the same feeling in my body now as it was you know, this time last year. So it's just really, I'm just really interested in it, and I know that the solution seems like it's usually like, just, you know, think about what you can change in yourself, but I'm kind of also like, but I also want other people to change. Like I can't let go of that this time. That I don't like. So yeah, it's really quite funny. So yeah, there's that. That's been swimming around for me this week. And then just like I'm finding this Scorpio season that just big stuff comes up, and I think about it for a bit, and then it literally drops down again. Like I'm like, oh yeah, that I haven't thought about that for a while. Like, you know, that caused me lots of angst in the past, and it's a big thing, but it's it's dropping back down again. Like, oh phew, I can move on. Like, I don't know if I'm using this Scorpio season to maximum effect. Like all these things are just coming up, and I'm going, oh, that again. Oh, squish that back down. So I'm thinking of you, Amanda, like actually like getting out there and doing it. Like I haven't spoken to my therapist. She told me to do this daily exercise, like this daily breathing exercise. And I was like, oh yeah, brilliant. I can definitely do that. It's like 15 minutes twice a day. And I did it for the first few days, and then I just haven't done it anymore. And I'm like, so I haven't like booked in to see her again because I haven't been doing the work. And it's like, oh God, Vicky, come on. I've only just thought about that now. Like I've even been thinking maybe I'll go and see somebody else and like start again rather than confess. So yeah. But I've had a nice time with my family this weekend. It's been quite joyful. It's been my sister's 40th. But yeah, it's been a lot of traveling, and now we're back home, and it's nice to be back. But yeah, and it's nice to see you all. But yeah, that's me. It's quite funny. I made myself laugh.
Wow, just always so nice to hear your observations, Vicky, about life. I love that. And yeah, I mean, Scorpio. Did you have any Scorpio in your chart as well? I can't remember right now.
I've got it in front of me. Oh, what's in Scorpio? What's that squiggle? Uranus?
But which house was it in?
Oh, sorry, it's Scorpio is my 9th house.
Ah, okay.
Big cosmic vision and fun.
Learning. Yeah, Scorpio is. I mean, this I would say this Scorpio season is one of the most interesting ones in the whole year. You know, this is a very interesting time to like where everything does come up and those now, because it's eclipse season as well. Like, yeah, stuff does come up big time. Also, like, there's no right or wrong how we deal with this, you know, like sometimes this is maybe how we move on, when we just like, okay, we just see it and we don't really have to like go into full processing mode and like, you know, really working through it and so on. And maybe with some things we do need to. And also where, you know, we have been kind of talking, like Vicky now brought it up as well, like a breath work, like undone breath work, and or like meditation, and then you're gonna move out from meditation and so on. And I totally move, you know, going really full on into new phases in your life actually often create that phase or that liminal space where also all your routines are completely shuffled. Like all your routines are completely, like everything, all your life is just thrown up into the air, and it needs to come, you know, you need to kind of like gather that pack again to create your new routine. And this is very much what I'm kind of experiencing right now as well. Like, you know, my life is wildly different right now than 2 months ago, like completely unexpectedly changed. And I'm like, well, no, I don't have that time, like 2 hours every morning on my own, because I'm usually not on my own anymore, to do my practices and so on. So I'm completely like, okay, so what is the new routine? And actually this is again like that stuff, like I'm not compromising, you know, this is not about, oh, okay, but we live, you know, when we are together, like I need to compromise because no, it's not that. It's like I just threw voluntarily, I threw all my cards to the air to then see, how do I want to reshuffle the cards? How do I want to create that new me? And I think that is also really important to kind of understand about Scorpio season, like that new, because it's deepening truth, you know, and it's deepening the truth of who you are right now, which means like often everything is going through that reshuffle as well. Yeah. Yes, Mariam, please.
And if you worked on your fundament, how you say in English? Foundation. It doesn't goes away. It's more like it's proving it, or it pauses it to see what's the next step or the next material you use to make it even more stable. It feels like that. And as you said as being, what was it, Nana, but not being rigid.
Yeah, absolutely.
It helps to be like, as you say, like throwing the chords, and because the center and the connection and the foundation doesn't disturbs it.
Yeah.
And helps us not to get crazy rigid, because it is here already what you did with your 2 hours in the last years or months or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, like, you know, what we're doing right now with Scorpio especially is like we're really looking, and with Leo as well, we're looking into sovereignty, being sovereign, you know, really being in our own ground, from all those different angles. So one huge angle of it was what I was talking about today before in the morning, that, you know, like when you're truly sovereign, you actually lose that need to fight for your right, you know, to defend yourself and to be like, you know, I need to be the right, people need to be like understanding what I'm valuing, like people need to understand me, people need to do, you know, what I think is right, and so on. Like we lose that need. But also the other part, when we create that sovereign state, is that you lose the need to actually have those practices that are like, I need them in order to go through my daily life. You actually get into that point where you don't need anything in order to get through your daily life, because you are who you are, and it doesn't really matter how your life, your day goes by. Sometimes you need that, sometimes you don't, sometimes you need something different, sometimes you just like go a week with like blah blah blah, whatever, you know, and you don't lose yourself. So this is where we're going into, you know, this is like the new paradigm when we're much more you know, it's much more about kind of listening to your body, listening to your system, the cellular system, and your wisdom in a very like nanosecond to nanosecond basis, rather than, oh, but this is what I did yesterday, I need to be doing this for like the next 3 months. This is mind speaking. But obviously sometimes we need those routines. Then we need to like understand that, oh, my body is actually really asking for that throughout some sort of period. So it's really about knowing ourselves better and then becoming sovereign through that.
Or to cultivate a new skill or a new part of your life, and then okay, check, and then again.
Exactly. Because, you know, this is the first day one was expanding ourselves, right? Like, you know, forgetting the stories we have been telling ourselves and expanding ourselves, trying out new things, bringing in new experiences. Yeah. My beauties, it was so nice to have this evening with you, and honestly, like, I feel so much better. I'm not like literally like feeling the nausea of somebody opening my tofu anymore, because you were, you know, this support was really needed right now. It was quite funny that with that Taurus moon we were talking so much about food, and you know exactly what Taurus very much is about. And oh my gosh, honestly, you are just all freaking awesome, incredible women, and just so much fun. I'm so happy, like it was so much fun to have this laughter and everything today as well, you know. And yes, so tomorrow, Tuesday, full moon, lunar eclipse. We'll see what this brings, and then tomorrow I'll also make a new doodle for next week, so we'll get the time in the diary for the next week as well. And until then, sending you all so much love, just from my whole heart. This is beaming out to you. Have a beautiful evening, big kiss, and I will see you very soon. Bye, my beauties.
See you guys.
See you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.